After seeing what the age group of my audience is, it is unlikely that you guys had to suffer through the US broadcast of Dragon Ball Z through the late 90s and early 2000s, and I use suffer in the best possible way, mainly because I love the US broadcast. I love the length of it, I love all the added stories, and I love the Bruce Falconer soundtrack, but it did stretch way too long in way too many different places, and you guys who started Dragon Ball, say the late thousands, were lucky enough to have Dragon Ball Kai that shortened everything up, because then you would miss endless and drawn out banter and spectator moments before the fight even began. Why am I bringing this up? Because that's essentially what this Dragon Ball fan manga is as of right now.
Know your place, worm. Prepare yourself. Damn Saiyan.
On the real though, I owe Dragon Ball Kai fans and supporters a huge apology, because as someone that came from the US broadcast days with Bruce Falconer and just a longer version of Dragon Ball, I used to look down on Dragon Ball Kai as this sort of shortened up version that took out all the favorite music that I like and changed the voice actors, and something that wasn't for me. But I've come to appreciate Dragon Ball Kai as the years have gone on, because it has brought a slew of brand new Dragon Ball fans into our community. And after watching Dragon Ball Kai, and I've watched it with my sons, it is a passable, if not better version of the US broadcast, because it just cleans up so much of that extra filler part of the story, plus shortening a lot of that banter and early talk right before fights, making the story more streamlined. Plus, the voice acting is better in a lot of ways. The music actually fits pretty well in some cases, so I gotta hand it to you guys. Dragon Ball Kai is pretty fun. Now, going to Dragon Ball Pawa, which is this Dragon Ball fan manga. Essentially, this is what this is. This is the talk and the hype, essentially, right before of a fight. So the creator of this Dragon Ball fan manga essentially more than likely grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s with the US broadcast, and saw how the fights sort of dragged on right before they even began. This Dragon Ball fan manga is extremely reminiscent of the Buu saga. It is so littered with Buu saga tropes in a GT style setting that it actually becomes a pretty acceptable hybrid. We start off the story at the beginning of what seems to be the final conflict between Goku in what seems to be Super Saiyan 5 and his opponent, Owari, who seems to be a creature that is either close to deity level or wants to become a god of destruction, and is powered by Omni power. He was created by the creator of the universes, and we all know who this guy is. Although I believe this story more than likely takes place maybe before Dragon Ball Super was put together. And if that is the case, well, good job, because this guy predicted God of Destruction, and this is mentioned in this Dragon Ball fan manga. Goku is about to face off against Owari basically the entire chapter, and we get at the very beginning dialogue from Vegeta and Gohan, who are there witnessing the fight. Vegeta is very similar to how he was at the end of Dragon Ball Z. He is very jealous and envious of both Goku and Owari for having such immense and immeasurable power. They seem to be on a completely different wavelength and a completely different level than anything that Vegeta could land, and he's pretty upset by this. At the same time though, he knows that Goku really is their only hope. He is the only hope for them to save the universe, because even though in the beginning this is the first chapter of Dragon Ball Pawa, we don't know exactly what Owari's mission is. For the most part, we know that he is going to try to destroy the universe. He's basically on a suicide mission. And as the story progresses, we see exactly why. And he becomes sort of a sad, relatable-ish character, especially at the very end. There is one panel that I really like a lot. But before we get to that point, Owari essentially has all the attributes and all the banter that comes from a standard Dragon Ball Z villain, either from the movies or even just all the way back to Cell. He's just very, very full of himself and full of his power, and looks down on Goku and tries to talk down to him, even though in his heart of hearts he believes that Goku is probably around that same level that he's at. But his power is continuously growing, and the only indicator that we get to why his power is growing is because of the Dragon Balls. He is doing something with the Dragon Balls, bringing out the evil power within them, similar to probably what happened at the end of GT, and this is what's feeding into his power and creating a greater form for himself, an omnipotent form. But this character seems to be a character that, again, was created by whatever god in this universe created the universe. And with that being said, he really hates this Omni King. That's what I'm calling him, because that is the god of Dragon Ball Super, essentially, and Dragon Ball Z, so I'm putting his ass here. He hates the Omni King. And I'll get to that in a second, right after we get to what some people may remember from Dragon Ball Z, the Buu Saga, where we got endless back and forth between the Elder Kai and the Supreme Kai. Now, I haven't seen this Kai version of Buu Saga yet, but it more than likely cuts a lot of this bullshit out, because in the US broadcast, it was endless. You would spend at least half an episode of Dragon Ball Z with these two just talking about the power levels and, oh no, what's gonna happen next, and the power is big enough to destroy everything and all this stuff. And this is why I feel like this artist really kind of was inspired and probably grew up, probably the same as me, grew up in those Toonami days watching this, because this manga is very reminiscent of those old Dragon Ball Z stories. After we get a little bit of back and forth between the Supreme Kai and the Elder Kai, we realize that this character, Owari, is a sad villain. He is a villain that is really only brought here and brought to his task because he hates the Omni King, because it is implied that he locked them away. He locked them away in darkness, while all the rest of the gods, or all the rest of the deities, or whatever the case might be, they were all in the light. They were all absorbing God's goodness, and he was locked away for millennia. So he is extremely upset about this and very, very pissed off. So now he's taking it out on the world. He wants to destroy the galaxy, and he wants to destroy Goku. But he basically is going at it the way that a standard Dragon Ball Z villain would. Goku ends up telling this dude what time it is, and he tells him that he is beyond redeeming. There's not an ounce of good within this character, and that he will destroy him. And weirdly enough, this sets him off, because Owari seems like he may have had some goodness in him at some point, because he takes this extremely offensive, talking about how hard his life has been, and this is the reason that he's doing what he's doing, and why he was locked away, and all this torture that he was put through throughout his entire life, and that Goku had no real reason to talk down to him like that. We then cut to Vegeta and Gohan, and Vegeta is basically giving us the speech from the end of Dragon Ball Z, talking about how Goku's the only one that can do it. Goku's always been far ahead of him. Goku is the champion, and he is behind Goku. What am I telling you guys? This is straight up from the Buu Saga. That's why I'm saying that this artist definitely grew up in the same generation that I did. Then we get to the best panel in the entire fan manga. Goku's ready to start the fight. Finally, come on, let's finally get started. And then Owari says this: "Do you even know how to kill me? Even if you blast my body into 1,000 pieces, I will regenerate. I can disintegrate you if that will work." Owari seems to think that this is not gonna work, and he goes, "Unfortunate." And Goku replies with, "It seems that this method will work." Owari's like, "You are welcome to try, but do not think I will so easily submit." Goku goes, "Enough talk, we've dragged this on long enough," which they surely have. And when I saw these panels originally, I got the feeling that Owari wants Goku to kill him, that he does not want to live anymore, and he is that much of a tortured soul that he does not really want to continue and complete the plan that he's trying to do. And so that's why he was asking Goku if he knew how to kill him. Now, he doesn't seem to be very sure that disintegration is going to do it, or that Goku can have that power, even though it seems like from this exchange that there may be a possibility that he may be able to be destroyed same way Cell and Kid Buu had, but he's still not so sure. And Goku's like, "I'm just gonna try it. let's see what happens. Let's fight. And at the end of this chapter, they finally fight. And then that's it. Dragon Ball Pawa was definitely a good, nostalgic walk down memory lane for me. And it seems to have potential because even the art style, I like the art style. I like how much detail there is in it. But I'm hoping that if there is a chapter 2, that the fight is as drawn out and as spectacular as this exchange of words were. That's all I got for you today. This is going to be BlackScape signing off. Take care, guys.